back to the channel, everybody. I want to thank you for hitting that play button today. If this is your very first time stopping by the channel, my name is Chuck, and on this channel we deal with everything Corvettes. Like the thumbnail as well as the description said, the title of the video, I'm going to be doing a two-part series of what the C8 means to the value of the C7. Here with my wife's 2017 Collector's Edition Grand Sport. That was the first year that Corvette released the Grand Sport. And so we're going to be using this car as an example in these next two videos as far as value. Now, of course, what a lot of people don't realize is since Corvette went from the C6 to the C7 back in 2014, there's been nearly 120,000 C7 Corvettes built. Now, when you put that into perspective, that's around 30,000 or so a year. If you look at the last 5 years of the C6, there was around 15,000 a year that were built, almost half. So the C7, there is no doubt, breathed life or, basically gave life back into the Corvette. Not that people weren't buying Corvettes and people weren't excited about Corvette. It's just the C7 was a total game changer when it comes to Corvette's history. As well as videos about the C7. I mean, you can listen right here to it, a GM executive talk about how basically GM their mindset has already turned from the C7 to the C8.
I can't really answer the question about, what we're doing for C8 or what's the future of the Corvette today. But I can tell you that this is the best C7 that we'll ever make. This ZR1, 755 horsepower. This is the car. This is the end of C7. That I can tell you, and more to come, and we're very proud of what's going to happen on C8.
We're kind of beyond thinking it's going to be a Cadillac and not a Corvette as far as the C8, just simply because of the footage that we've seen this past week with all of the thick padding and everything else that was off of the car. And this, I'm going to show you just a real brief clip here. This is something from my good friend and buddy Rick Corvette Conti here on YouTube. He actually bought the rights to this particular portion of the video of the C8 being out on the actual track. Is going to look like. Yes, is there going to be a little bit of aero done to it? Yes. Now this is going to be the Stingray platform. And a lot of people have just been going crazy about, oh Chuck, this is going to be a $150,000 car. People aren't going to be able to buy a Corvette anymore. That's simply not the case. I think the biggest thing that people are going to be shocked by is going to be the price of this new C8 Corvette, again in the Stingray format. Now, currently right now, a base Stingray is around $56,500. That's just base with a 1LT package on it. I think we're going to see this new C8 Stingray, again, in that base format, around about $5,000 more than that. So I'm going on record with you to say it's going to be around $61,500, somewhere in that neighborhood. And I think the reason why is that you have to stop and think nearly 35 to 40%, depending on, Grand Sport sales and so forth. Stingray makes up, over the majority of cars that are sold as far as in that platform. GM's not going to price out everybody that's their bread and butter. The Stingray has always been their bread and butter. It's always the first car they release within each generation. So they're going to make it affordable. They're going to have people psyched about it. They're going to have people excited about the car. And I think it's going to come out at a price point where a lot of people are going to say, wow, I have to have one of these cars. A lot of people say, well, Corvette sales are going to drop. Yes, people who are purists may say that, but I think that what we saw again coming from the C6 to the C7, we saw sales double because of just how cool this car is. I mean, do I think that the value of the C8 pricing when it comes out, if it comes out around that 61.5, is it going to hurt the C7 value? Of course it's going to. You know, every new, whether it's a new iPhone, whether it's a new computer, whatever, always hurts the previous generation. Whether it's a GoPro, you know, it doesn't matter. But who's that going to affect? Does that mean that if you have a C7 right now, you're thinking, you know, Chuck, maybe I need to get rid of it because I want to try to be able to get as much for it right now as I possibly can? I'm going to say, if you're planning on having the car for 3 or 4 years or a couple of years, I would say enjoy it. Get out and drive it. Don't worry about the value of it right now. You know, anything with a motor in it, unless it's some type of one-off type vehicle, is basically, it's not an investment. It's something that you purchase to enjoy. Don't let it sit out in your garage and do nothing. And so that's why I always tell people, get out and drive their Corvette. People go out and spend these things and then turn around and sell it for $20,000 less than they bought it, and they're super pumped that they have, you know, I've only got 2,500 miles on my car. Well, if you only got 2,500 miles on your car, then you didn't enjoy this. And this is a sexy machine that you need to be out enjoying. So this week I'm going to be taking this car down to CarMax, and I'm going to be doing an appraisal on it, and I'm going to be taking you guys with me so that you can kind of see, you know, of course this Grand Sport is fully decked out. It has over $20,000 in options in it, with it being the collector's edition, having the Z07 package, as well as you know, the Stage 3 aero that's on the car. So that's going to give me a little bit of a ballpark of what this car is worth right now, as far as trade-in value. Now, of course, it's like anything else. If you sell it privately, you're definitely going to get a better price. But the way I look at selling your car privately, unless you're going to sell it to someone that's local to you, maybe somebody that you know, you open yourself up to just a whole bunch of just headache. You've got people that, you know, someone's got to send the money, someone's got to release the title, and, you know, maybe if you don't have it totally paid off, there's some things that have to be negotiated there, or selling it or trading it in or selling it to a dealership, is that, you know, everything's going to be taken care of there. And it's kind of like, you know, if you're selling your house, if you've ever went and you got a realtor, you know, they're going to charge you 5% to sell the car, to sell your house. Some people try to sell it themselves to try to save that, and if you've ever went through that, you know what I'm talking about. That could be a huge pain as well. So to me, a realtor is well worth their weight in gold in selling your property. I think when it comes to selling your car, and you know, you're not totally upside down on it, it's definitely something that you may want to consider. It's going to be an easy transaction. Paperwork's going to be taken care of, all of those types of things. Now again, you do leave some money on the table, and that's what I'm interested in finding out this week. Jalen, who's actually a member of the community here, actually works at the local CarMax, and so talking with him, I'm going to be working with him on getting the appraisal for this car, and again, I'll share that with you when that happens later this week. That will be the second part of this particular video. Everything to this point is going to be speculation. It's kind of like a preseason poll. You don't know who's going to win until they play the games. And even though we don't know exactly what's going to be about this C8, what the pricing is going to be, I think we can still leave it that GM is not going to upset their entire customer base that much. You know, this week I posted something on my Instagram and Facebook, and if you're not following me there, make sure you definitely do. That's where I kind of a little bit more interactive with you there, and sharing not only your videos and your photos, but also thoughts about different things. And one of the things I posted was this particular picture of some renderings that I think are about 95% accurate of what the C8 is going to look like. And my question to everyone was, should you buy the C8, or would you rather buy a C7 at a great deal? Because we've already seen over the last year, even Rick Corvette Conti, who is going to be here next week, the 22nd. We're going to be doing some videos, collaboration videos. So if you guys aren't following his channel, definitely make sure you do. He's always linked in all of my videos below. He is great for following to know exactly what is going on in the marketplace when it comes to Corvette. Not only does he sell cars, but you know, he's just a great guy. to see, you know, all he does is strictly Corvettes. You know, you got other guys that say they're Chevy people, and you know, they make videos on the new Tahoe or the new Blazer or anything like that. This guy does strictly Corvette, so he's definitely worth a follow. Again, he doesn't bombard you with just a bunch of videos, but they're always entertaining, to say the least. He will have you laughing. I'll just leave it at that. Now, if you're one of those people that says, you know, Chuck, I've always wanted a Corvette and I've never owned one, then this is about to be an amazing time for you, because I think that you're going to be able to get into a C7 Corvette, a C6 Corvette at a really, really great price. Again, over the last, you know, 8 months, we've seen 2017 Corvettes go for 20% under sticker, sometimes 22%. And that's just an amazing deal. It's like this car right here, MSRP'd for $92,000, and I bought it for $72,000. And you know, with it having everything it can possibly have on the Grand Sport, and was a heck of a deal. And so that's why, you know, I purchased it. And some of you, you know, maybe you've bought your cars over the last year, you know, maybe you just bought a 2018, maybe you just bought a 2019, and it wasn't heavenly incentive. And I'm sorry, I'm in my wife's car and it's not hooked up to my phone, so I'm gonna hear every K-band that possibly pops up here. You know, that's the key with this car. If you just purchased it, this isn't going to affect you at all, and you planned on keeping your car for, you know, a couple of years. But again, like I was saying earlier, you know, anything with a, you know, engine in it is going to lose value. That's just the nature of owning cars. But you know, so not all the Corvettes are going to be affected at some point. You know, whether it's the ZR1 like I have, this Grand Sport, all of them are going to lose value. But again, getting out and enjoying these cars is really what it's all about. We don't buy these as an investment. We buy these as a way of getting out and enjoying and treating ourselves with something that we've always wanted our entire life, and we went and bought one. Now, there are people out there that have 4, 5, 6 Corvettes, and you know, they've been very blessed in life, and you know, they're more stackers. They keep their Corvettes. And then you have other people that, you know, every 18 months to 2 years, they like getting into a new sports car, whether it's a Corvette, or maybe you're going to go get a GT350, or you're going to go get a new Dodge. I don't even know what they call that thing. It's like the Devil Eye or something. A Red Eye or something that just coming out. But you know, for me, I'm a car guy, not just Corvette, even though this is definitely the car that I prefer out of all the sports cars. But I would never say no to owning any of them. I'd love to own actually the new ZL1 1LE. I know it'd be pretty stiff and all that type of stuff, but I think that's just a great car. And you know, with it being a 6-speed would be even better. But if for somebody who already has a Corvette and you're thinking about, maybe you've seen the pictures, you've seen the renderings, you know, Chuck, I just love that car, you know, when's it going to come out? You know, that car is going to be coming out either in the LA Auto Show here in December, or it's going to come out in January at the Detroit Auto Show. Now, the word on the street, and that's all I can go by, is what people are telling me that I know that have been pretty much spot on in things about Corvettes. And when the ZR1 came out, they were giving me information that ended up being right on the money. We won't see the C8 being actually produced and rolled out probably until next September or August. So it's not going to be something, once it's revealed, you're going to be able to go, you know, probably throw your order in and get it. Now, that doesn't mean that dealerships aren't going to start, you know, at that point. You know, right now, if you go ask a dealer, you know, like Rick, hey Rick, I want to give you a deposit, he's going to tell you, you keep your money, I don't even know what this car is yet. And any dealership that says, yeah, I'll take your money and I'll get you in line, you know, be leery of that. You know, they're just trying to sell a car, and they're not really, you know, keep your money, keep your deposit. Believe me, this isn't going to be like the ZR1 thing where, you know, less than 200 of them a month are being built. They're going to crank these out. And that's why, you know, if it holds true and that C7 truly is gone. Now, some people say, Chuck, they're going to be making C7s for the next couple of years. Well, I hope you're right. But listening to executives and reading different reports and listening to other people, I think GM is done with the C7. I think once the release is done, I think you're going to see the transformation over to the C8, and they're ready to go. You got to stop and think, they've already sold twice as many C7s as they ever did the C6s, and I think they're ready to move on to the new platform and get that underway. I think if they kept both cars, the C7 and the C8, I think it would help the value of the C7 some, because they would still be producing them. But I think you're going to get a great deal on a Corvette if you're looking to pick one up. So if I didn't have a Corvette right now, and that's what I was wanting, I would be, if I saw a heck of a deal on a C7, I would jump on it. I would bid it. I would get it. I wouldn't let this period and this time go by. Now, will we see the C8, will we see the C7 2018, 2019 models be at these heavily discounted rates like we have the 2017? I think maybe if you're willing to wait a while, I think so. I think that inventory that, hasn't gone. Now, a lot of dealerships, I know here locally, if you get on most dealerships, unless you're talking about the big boys, most of those guys don't have but 1 or 2 Corvettes. My local dealer here, Jim Glover, they've got 2. Usually they'll carry 12 to 15. And I think that they're kind of waiting too on the C8 to see exactly what happens. It doesn't mean you can't go into a dealership and order one and those types of things. There's just not going to be a whole lot of inventory out there right now because they've just seen what's happened with the 17, 18, and 19. Someone said, Chuck, are you going to get a C8? I'm not going to get a C8 for at least 3 years, maybe 4 years. You may say, why? I'm more of the Z06 Grand Sport. I don't see myself, though the Stingray is an amazing car, first of all, I'm going to let GM work out the bugs on this thing, because this is a whole new animal for them. And they're going to a mid-engine type car, and there's going to be some issues with the first year or two, just like there was on the C7. So I'm going to let them take care of all of that, and then once they release that, hopefully maybe in the second year, if they follow through with what they did with the C7, then they'll come out with the Z06 in the next year. So 2020 will be the new C8 car, and then maybe 2021 the Z06 will come out. I think that's where we're going to see huge gains, not only in the price of the cars, but I think we're going to see a huge gain in what the C8 Z06 is going to be able to do. I think it is going to be a monster of a car. I think it is going to be a 720 killer. I think it's going to be lighter, twin turbo, dual clutch system. It's going to be all-wheel drive. I'm hearing that 0 to 60 is going to be like the Tesla. It's going to be electric, and we're talking 2.1 seconds in the 0 to 60. I think it's going to be a car that is like a cat. Just it's gone. And then by the time you get up to it, the twin turbo system on that is going to be gone. I think that's where, the rest of the McLaren brand and the the Lamborghinis and Ferraris, GM's coming. Whether you can give me a thumbs down if you don't like that, but I think that GM is coming full straight ahead. I think that they've maxed out. They've said that they've maxed out what they can do with the C7, with the ZR1, and I think it's a bright future for GM. Again, am I excited that it's going to be called a Corvette? No, I kind of wish it was going to be something else, but I'm a true enthusiast of Corvette, and I'm behind the Corvette team. They have, they're going to have my full support. People said when the C7 came out, people who had a C6 said I can't stand it, and then 2 years after it came out, they were driving one. And I think it's going to be the same way with the C8. Yeah, some people said, Chuck, if I wanted a European-looking car, I would go buy one. Well, quite frankly, most of us can't go out and buy a McLaren for $250,000 or, whatever they may be. But to be able to go out and buy one decked out a Stingray for $74,000, I think there's going to be a lot of people buying those cars. Guys, until I see you at the next video, make sure you've hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the thumbs up or thumbs up squad. Thank you. Make sure you hit the bell notification, because you're going to want to know what this car appraises for. I'm kind of interested. I've got a number in mind. We'll see how close we come to it. I'm thinking around 64 is what I think this is going to appraise at. I could be way off. My Z06 appraised for 61, but it was a 3LZ package, but it just had metal brakes, and it didn't have, even though I put all the aero on it, it just, the Z06s, there's just a bunch of them out there. But guys, until I see you at the next video, I hope each and every one of you have a blessed rest of your week. Now let's check out some of your beautiful rides.
young, and I didn't understand that you were the one, and I can't wait to see you Hindsight is fleeting when your heart's bleeding and all you can see is red, till you discover it is within each other to forgive and make amends. If I had known